Okay, everybody, we are on episode 2 review of the What Do You See series. And this one's a bit of a funny one. If you haven't seen the actual video, then I encourage you to quickly watch that and come back to this one. Link is going to be in the description below. And I really like this one. It was a chance encounter. I happen to have the camera already running. And I thought that Gracie and Lena were going to do more of what they were already doing, which will be in another video. But I had dropped the lead rope on the barrel to free my hands up. And there they were standing next to it. And I thought, oh, okay, well, they probably wouldn't do anything. But Gracie ended up picking up the lead rope, and we know what happened next. Now, at the time, it was very fast, and I was trying to keep everything in frame in this tiny little screen that is the camera. So I didn't catch much of anything other than it to be hilarious in person. When I watched it back, I still didn't catch everything until it got into slow-mo. And that's the point of these episodes, or this series of episodes of What Do You See, is to take footage, watch it at normal speed, slow it way down, watch it again, say, whoa, is that what happened? And then watch it again. And then you start to train your brain for the patterns of horses, reactions, directions they're going to go, why they go that way. And the idea is to get better at, one, staying safe. If you're going to be around horses, they're dangerous, they're fast, they're powerful. You need to stay safe. So it's best to be able to predict what on earth they're doing. Number 2 is to be able to, again, predict and be ahead of, if you can, of their actions, so you understand their communication, which in turn creates a better relationship. And that's just how it works. The more you can communicate with them and they know you're able to kind of catch things and learn things, then the more hope they will have for you to be a friend, because you won't be so dull and missing all the signs kind of thing. So that's why we really want to do this. Let's take a look at this one. So episode 2 was Gracie and Lena, and a little bit of Luke, actually, and I think Ruli was in the background. So let's check this out at normal speed. I'm just going to back this up, and here we go. Very unexpected. I've never seen Gracie really pick stuff up, other than a barrel or so, maybe. She didn't play with stuff. Luke says, no way, Jose. All right. So, obviously, yeah, Gracie grabs the rope. Lena looks at her and says, what the heck are you doing? This is a good moment to freeze on, isn't it? Now, the rope is a tool that I use to play with horses. So they know that it's an active tool. It's something that goes through the air and infiltrates space rather quickly. So for them to be a little bit worried and stuff like that, especially Gracie, she's not a big fan of ropes. She actually has a lot of trouble with ropes around her legs still. I'm working on it, but I take it very slow. I'm not trying to rush it too much. In a good state of mind, not this one, she does quite well, but when it's unexpected and stuff, or when it moves a little too quick, she gets worried. And this is clearly too quick. So what I found, not so much what Gracie's response was I actually found Lena's response, and then in turn Luke's response, quite interesting. Gracie, this was kind of expected. I thought when she grabs it, man, she's not gonna do well. And then off she goes. Yeah, and then Luke comes around and sniffs and races off. And of course, Ruli doesn't care at all. Been there, done that? I don't know, probably. Okay, so let's watch this in slow motion. So this isn't an interaction with me and them until the end, and we'll talk about that in a bit. This is just them being horses. So I had a couple of comments that felt that Lena had taken control of the barrel or something like that, or it was her barrel. I don't know if horses take control of things so much. They might have a little bit of control over their space, but I don't think I've ever really seen a horse sort of take control of a thing other than food. Lena's nose is funny. Somebody asked what that was. She's just blowing air out because she had been running around earlier. So it's quite common for horses to blow their nose after they've been running. She's checking out flies while Gracie checks out this rope. And you can see her stance. She's very stretched out. When horses want to look at something, but they want to keep themselves in as safest position as possible, they will stretch as much as they can. They will be in a position to escape easier. They won't be on top of something. And they'll do exactly what she's doing here. So, the communication between Gracie and Lena I think, is relatively minimal. I don't think it's a big player in the beginning up until the rope is grabbed. So up until then, I think it's, Lena's ears are forward. She's kind of comes over a little to the right to see what Gracie's doing, see if she's going to move the barrel maybe or something. But she's very relaxed, sort of floppy ears forward to the side a little. Gracie takes one step forward to reach this thing, and another step to be able to reach it. So she's getting a little bit braver. And this is another way we can say this horse is feeling a lot more confident around this thing, is they'll move their whole body closer. So in the beginning, not so. But when she sees that it doesn't move or do anything, she's a little braver. I don't know what possessed her to pick it up. Here's a big shake and a blow of a nose of Lena. It doesn't mean anything to Gracie. Lena's just sort of cleaning out. So Gracie has now picked it up. She's got this thing in her mouth. And I think at this point, Lena says to her, what are you doing? Why are you picking that thing up? And what are you going to do with it? There's some curiosity there. I don't know if there's trepidation or concern. Lena's ears are still flopped to the side. She doesn't look overly tense, but she's definitely paying attention. Gracie's got more of that worried sort of look about her eyes. Let's just roll back for a second. And she's gone to pick it up. But right there is where she's realizing that there's some trouble. Now, something to consider. When horses are tense, when they're uncomfortable or afraid or something like that, they will almost get lockjaw. They will clench down. You'll find that there will be times, I think I've taught it here and there, where if you want a horse to relax, you kind of can stick your fingers in their mouth and wiggle them around until they open up. And then they'll move their jaw. They'll do that. And it'll actually trigger, I believe, it triggers a little bit of a thought process that says, okay, I'm okay. And they'll do that. And so when Gracie picks this up, and some horses do, they'll pick something up and they won't let it go, even though the best thing for them is to let it go. So I was actually a little bit worried when I saw her pick it up that she wouldn't let it go due to being sort of clamped down and scared. Obviously she did. So roll back a few seconds here. So she picks it up, looks a little worried that it's kind of following her, sees the other part fall off, and then her head comes up. Again, we've talked about it in the last one. When horses are worried or concerned, they will raise up, they will get bigger, they will go to leave. Their whole body will be trying their best to leave. So if you're around a horse that is suddenly afraid, don't be above them at all. Don't put your head anywhere above their neck or head or anything. Plenty of people have been hit in the jaw when they become over top of their horse or something like that, and the horse brings their head up, smash into their jaw. Something to think about. These reactions are normal, and we'll see Lena do the same thing. Now, what I found very interesting about this is that Lena followed her. And you'd think that if it was so scary, Lena would go the other way because there was nobody over there. So that's interesting. And because Gracie is a little bit worried of the rope, when she brought it up, it came over to her right-hand side where she was escaping to because it was coming from her left. It came over to the right. She stopped there. Lena was going to follow her, which kind of goes to prove a little bit that horses can't predict all horses' behaviors, and Gracie's very fast. So they bumped into each other. Gracie didn't kick out at her or anything like that. So the rope's off to the right. She still doesn't let it go, and she lets it go there. But if we look at it carefully, we can see, let's go 150%. We can see that the rope is a little bit around her front right foot, which is going to worry her. And the other concern that I have was it's going to stay wrapped around her foot and she'd freak out and don't leave your halters lying around. So Lena's way back there now. She's been left in the dust. Ruli's over here making a move towards the fence, probably concerned that Gracie was coming towards her. And instead of fleeing, she kind of went the other way, which was quite interesting. Now, if we look back just for a second here, I would have never caught this without slow-mo. She comes over here, she takes a step, and then she kicks with her right foot right there, her back right foot. Right there. That's called a cow kick. Cow kicks are incredibly fast. If you are next to a horse and they don't want you anywhere near them, if they're kind of on the move, they got their foot ready to go, they can cow kick it borderline lightning speed. It's very fast. I guess Ruli had kind of moved towards the fence because Luke would have been in the way. But anyway, so that's called a cow kick, and she's still trying to leave it. And she's running off. The halter has finally stopped. She's still going. She's got to move away from Luke. Luke kicks out. He's like, "Don't come near me, you crazy Arabian." And he's pretty excited. Now, something to think about here is that I'm turning with her. I'm continuously trying to sort of stay faced up with her. And I believe she's sort of responding to that a little bit. So she squares up with me. Lena's coming in all worried. And then Luke comes over to have a quick sniff at this thing to make sure that it's proper dead, maybe. But he's not willing to touch it because it came alive. This is the interesting thing about horses that I find, that inanimate objects, when they become animated by themselves, become alive in a horse's mind. It's probably some form of magic, but it's still just an inanimate object. It's still just a thing, a rope that's just lying on the ground. And up until seconds ago, it was moving. So while to us, this is nothing, to a horse's amygdala, to their brain, their fearful brain, it's a big deal. And that's something to predict. That's something to be paying attention to and saying, is my horse going to handle this thing that just was moving and now isn't moving? Like a balloon or a bag of any sorts on the ground, or a blowing cardboard box or something like that. Those are all alive in a horse's mind. And we have to be able to predict that and protect them or teach them as much as we can. Because object recognition isn't, I don't believe, it's not nearly as good as in humans. And especially if it's been moving. So there's that problem. So Luke just makes a beeline away from it, and really, for the most part, has stayed pretty solid throughout all of this. She hasn't absorbed the energy from the horses. Now, that is also something very important to consider. So Luke has fled the scene. Ruli's not doing anything. What's really important to think about when horses overreact, like we've seen here with Gracie grabbing the rope and taking off, and Lena's gone with her, and Luke's freaking out, is that horses, when one of them has too much energy, it'll transfer into another one, and it'll transfer into the next one until all of them are running for nothing. What am I running for? Well, that guy was running. Well, what's he running for? I don't know. He was running because the other guy was running. Well, what's that guy running for? Nobody cares, because that's the way the horse brain works. It's run or shoot first, ask questions later. And that's probably a good reason of why so many humans die, because we're kind of like, hey, you're dead. Whereas a horse, like, run, what's that? Oh, it was nothing? Okay, well, at least I'm still safe. So the thought process of a horse is, in my opinion, in regards to dangerous items is advanced compared to a human. Something to think about. Horses will react to crazy stuff for no good, what we see is no good reason, because we've logically already thought it through. So the more you can educate your horse, the more you can get them used to things. If I took like a bunch of ropes and put them all over the place and had Gracie play with them, this wouldn't happen. She'd probably pick it up and swing it around and have all kinds of fun. But I believe this is the very first time she has ever done this. And so I am shuffling and moving around a little bit. I am trying to move in closer. So that's one of the reasons why Lena would pay a little bit more attention to me. Man, that is funny in slow-mo. But these girls had a lot of energy before this. They were already running around, which I'll show in another. So there it goes from her left to her right, which causes her to go right and then left to evade. And then Lena bumps into her because she was trying to go with her and had predicted she would continue to go. But Gracie's lightning fast. I mean, this happens in a split second. Shoom, shoom, go. How do you keep up with that? That's always my question. How do you catch this activity? Pick it up, swing right, swing left, go this way. She's gone. Lena's just left in her dust. And she finally catches up. Luke freaks out. So the things that we need to see, I mean, I know a lot of people are making great connections. You're trying to make communication between the horses and between the horses and the humans really meaningful, and it is. But a lot of this too is as well paying attention to how do horses move, why do they move, how can we predict that to be in a position, in a spot around them that is safer than being in the wrong spot. You know, if I was closer and a little bit more to Gracie's right, maybe I was in the way, what would happen? Would I have had to move out of the way? If she'd flung that thing around, I'd probably have to try to avoid it. And I would imagine she'd be more afraid of it than me, and I would just get run over. So we don't want that. So positioning yourself in good places, and that just comes from practice. Just practice, practice, practice. A lot of times. So that's why we do a lot of horse observing. We watch and watch and watch, and I guess in this case, allow them to do weird things. Allow them to play with things that are unconventional. But Lena here is very relaxed, very floppy ear, kind of paying attention to Gracie. Gracie's pretty relaxed. Her ears are kind of floppy down, so that's good. A little bit playful, kind of curious. It's a very, Lena's got her attention on me, and then she turns to Gracie. What are you doing? How come you're going to sniff that and you look like you're interested in it? Is it food? Maybe that's food. Can I eat it too? Another blow of the nose. I mean, these girls Lena was funny. She was running around like a young filly. So there's fear. So that fear that Gracie's got, that high head, the big eyes, quick movement is fast enough to put Lena on high alert as well. She's already trying to make an escape, but she's not sure, I guess, where to go. So she was going to go left, and now she's going to go right. She's going to follow Gracie, and she goes to make a quick move, and realizes that Gracie's not moving where she was thinking she was going to move to. And that's the interesting part to me. Let's take a look at the background. What's going on with Ruli? She's like, I don't know if I have to worry about anything. Luke made a big move there, but I don't have to do too much. And so she stands firm for a second while Luke is still bucking around like a young colt that's not sure what to do with himself. And then Gracie sort of checks in with me. And this is, I would say that this here is probably 80% training and 20% what do I do to hopefully me. Because Lena's already made her way around. Luke and Ruli are way off to the side, but she's squared up to me. She's got 2 eyes and 2 ears on me, which is fantastic because I would probably be saying to her, hey, or some noise. I clap my hands because it's there's a saying in Japanese. I don't know how many of you are aware. I'm bilingual. I happen to speak Japanese, but there's a saying in Japanese. It's called Nekodamashi, and Neko means cat. Damashi means to make quiet. And if you do that to a cat, it'll do that, and it'll be quiet. Maybe it's meowing or fighting with somebody or something. You do this, but it actually came from sumo wrestling, and they would do Nekodamashi to the other sumo wrestler, and it would throw off their concentration. So sometimes I will do this effect to a horse, like, hey, pay attention, and they'll, what's that? And then I'll be able to grab their attention, hopefully, and direct or calm them. So she might be looking at me like, whoa, dude, what on earth just happened? Is everything okay? Maybe help me out. But either way, I think there's a combination of both repetitive training, of how many times I've put her in positions that worry her, maybe scare her, and then I've said, hey, calm down, it's okay. Something to do with your horse. I think it's very important to continuously hone the tools that allow you to be that person, be that thing that says, you're okay. And they'll look to you for that a little bit. Of course, Luke didn't. And I've owned him the longest. He's still worried. He runs off. Ruli, what is it? She just swishes her tail at him, and Luke's gone. And he follows the girls. Ruli just stands there. So, anyways, hopefully that was quite interesting. I will definitely be doing more of these. I've got piles of this footage. There's lots to learn. There's lots to look at it in slow-mo and then come back to the normal speed and realize you're never going to catch most of this stuff. They're so fast. But if you can start to get the patterns, then you can predict, which allows you to see it. It goes to, in my mind, I think about something that I used to, or still am somewhat interested when I was in my younger years, of martial arts. And some of the best competition fighters, and first one that kind of comes to mind because such a big name, is Bruce Lee. And he was always very good because he was able to predict what was going to happen. So he looked like he could move at lightning speed, and he was pretty quick, but he knew where to go based on the projection of the other person. So it's the same thing with horses. If we can look at them and intuitively predict where they're going to move, what they're going to do, then we can already be moving before anything bad happens, which is exactly what the horses do. So watch it in slow-mo, watch it fast, watch it in slow-mo again, watch it fast, and just keep training your brain. So hopefully that's been interesting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.